Welcome back to the channel. Today we have part one of a two-part video of me kind of going over how I get my boat, my 2019 Trekker boat, ready for the season every year. I usually make it a two-part even when I'm not recording in years past. So today we get maintenance done on the boater. I do my oil change and gear oil change every year per Mercury standards, and I check the other things you're supposed to check. Yep, checked. But that's the big thing, is oil changed and gear lube change. I've been running Quicksilver since I bought the boat. Haven't had any issues, so I just continue to run it. Bought some new seals for my drains just in case I needed them. Not today, but I always put seafoam in on the first fuel change or the first fuel fill up every year. Don't technically run a marine oil filter, but I run the Wix XP filters. I've always been a Wix guy since, you know, your grandparents, my grandpa specifically, told me to cut a Wix apart, cut a frame apart, and then you see how much better a Wix filter is. So I've always run Wix in my products. And we got our oil. This is the little hose you're going to need. The hose you're going to need to hook it up to our lower end unit, but it's 90 weight is what they recommend for these 75 horse. So let's start getting everything torn apart. Don't mind this. The garage is going to get reorganized. So this is just here for now. I'm going to change the garage up to make it a little bit better for editing and recording. First thing you got to do, take this big thing off. There's a little latch in the back. You just kind of hold it and you just flip it up. Up and over. This is inside my motor. Like I said, wish I did videos beforehand. Well, a year or two ago. I've done the water pump already on this. I've been thinking a pretty cool video. But these are your spark plugs. I did that last year too. This is easy. This is easy. This is easy. This one's a pain in the butt, even with a magnetic socket. So what I like to do is I take these off. I usually do plug one. And I usually do like plug 3 or something. I usually don't take them all out because 4 being a pain in the butt. Take them out, I just inspect them. I make sure they look good, make sure it's not running really rich, really lean, anything like that. Make sure it's not full of oil, fun stuff there. But if you have a Mercury, they do put a bunch of info up here in the front, including, I think that's the one. I scan and it told me the original way how to do my maintenance, but you can kind of see what it tells you to do. You see, I don't inspect my thermostat every year. I don't inspect my fuel filter. I do inspect my anodes, and this is what we're doing right here. I did this last year before I was recording, and if you ever need anything, here's all your specs on that. It says 1030. I've been doing 2050. It's what the dealership I bought my boat from recommended. And like I said, I've never had any issues. I scoped it when I pulled the plugs out. I scoped the pistons, and they all looked fine. Didn't look like any issues, didn't look like any abnormal wears. So I'm gonna continue to run 2050. But when you get your boat set up, I usually try to do it up and down. So Mercury recommends it gets all your oil into your oil case so we can drain it. Draining is real easy, it's like a car. I always make sure this is loose for airflow. And I always make sure this is loose for airflow. I could probably put it on top actually. But that's your filter there. If you're changing it after you ran it, there'll be oil in this little, you can see in there, a little container in there. So then you have I usually put a rag or something in there. But that's where our oil filter's at. If you need to change your fuel filter, it's right there, real easy. We come down here, and that's our drain plug. So pretty much all I do is I put a deep well socket on that. I break it loose, hook my hose up, and then I spin it until oil starts to come out, and then I just let it drain. So we go grab a socket. Can't remember what socket it was. It's a 5/8, and I just throw it on a 3/8 ratchet. From the factory, Mercury sends you a clear tube. After like 2 years, I went to Bass Pro, even my local Trekker dealer, and they don't sell the clear hose. But it's on the motor you put on your belt. Anyway, So I just went to the local auto parts store. They didn't have anything. So I think it's just like plain heater hose, I think. It's just black hose. So it's 1/2 inch ID. So I would rather have the clear stuff because I like to just loosen enough and then put this on as soon as I get a hand loose and then just spin it. And once the fluids are coming out, then stop. But because they don't have that, I kind of just guess now. So can we see? Maybe we can see. All right. Okie dokie. So get it prepped, put it on there. Strong. All right. That should be good there. And you slide the hose on. I'll probably do like a whole explosion. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and get the filter off. I'm pretty sure it does not have any oil in the filter. I'm gonna grab some rags just in case. Apologize for the 5,000 different angles you're gonna be seeing today. Hello again. Ooh. Got my rags. Pipe wrench. Or filter wrench. Now. Nice and clean. If I didn't say, filter number is 57356. That's all through the wicks and the micro guards if you want a cheap filter. But I use wicks, like I said. So that's just normal oil change at this point. I take my rag or something, I just clear off. That seems fine. I just kind of clean it off, make sure everything looks good. Grab some oil. So it takes 5.5 quarts of oil. So I usually just buy 2 gallons. The stuff doesn't go bad after sitting for a year. But if you don't feel like it, just buy a gallon and then 2 quarts. But like normal oil changes, I put a little bit of the new oil on the seal. I would put some oil in it, but I'm not the best at pouring enough oil in it and then not spilling it trying to put it back on. So I've been doing this for, like I said, for a while and haven't had any issues. I just kind of crank it on my hand. Take the pipe wrench tool. I do like a 1/4 turn. 1/8 turn. That's fine. That feels nice and tight. Okay. Oil should be good. And for the people wondering why I only do it once a year, just checked my oil velocity and everything. It still has a ton of it, and it's not even black yet. It's still a light amber color. It's definitely used, but it's not brand new and it's not black. So this motor mainly sees a lot of just idle, like you guys seen a lot. Some of the lakes I fish, but I also do run it, but I'm not running 30 minutes down a lake. I mean, I run 5 or 10, so, and then I do that once or twice a day. So overall, I don't abuse this motor, but the motor overall has been really good to me. Look, all my oil is out of my motor, so I'm gonna tighten it back up, and then get that cleaned up, and then we'll put some new oil in this thing. So, still dripping a little bit, but I used the hose to kind of tighten it up. So now we're all kind of tightened back up. It's gonna drip some oil out a little bit. It's just oil, ain't a big deal. Suck it on. Give it a good old hi-ya! Tight. It's gonna drip for a minute. It always does. Like I said, it's oil, so we can clean the motor up. When we're done, we're gonna have actual gear oil leaking on this thing too, so it won't matter too much. All right, so I'm gonna take our motor oil. I'm gonna dump it real quick, and then we're gonna get my prop off so we can get to the gear oil. All right, do all this. We're gonna need a flathead. Take this. This is our breather for our gear oil, our rear, or gears, whatever you want to call it. So, gotta use that to breathe, let the oil come out, but we also use that when we're filling it up, because where we're filling from is technically closed off, so we use that to find out if we put enough oil in it. So, let me go grab some flatheads, let me go grab some sockets for this. You can see I got these little tabs right here. So I gotta pry these out. Pry these out of the way. Get my socket on. And we have an issue with the prop spinning too much. Got this little block right here. So I loosen my wheel up, my nut off, won't spin. But that should be enough to get my socket on. Get my socket on there. Not sure it's for the right size, but I use a 1/1/16 socket. That's what I have in the garage. So you got your little washer and your nut. I'll need that now. Nice. Pull it off. And there's your prop. Set the prop to the side. Always pull this little seal out. At this point, just lower it back down. I lower my motor down until I get off the water every time. Try to get as much water out, and there is still a little bit of water in my lower unit. I don't think there's really much you can do. Turn my shower pan there, and I lower the motor down so it's not hitting. There's not enough fluid in this to raise it high enough to touch it, and once again it's just oil, so we can get that off. So we're gonna take this screw out right here on top of your screen, and I bought those seals, but this seal looks good, so no point in replacing it. And I grab a light or something to show you guys. So also I do grease my shaft. So clean off all the grease from last year, and I put a little bit of new grease on it. I used Lucas Marine Grease, I think is what it is. Been around it for a while. Haven't had any issues with it. Once again, it's kind of one of those things, once you find something that works, doesn't cause you issues, you don't really change. Some things I do is kind of old school still. So this is the screw we're undoing right here. So it's either a flathead or a, I don't know what size that is. This being a brat, let me use a screwdriver. So this is a 10 millimeter. So I forget what the nut is on millimeter. I'm pretty sure it's all millimeter, but anyway. Break that loose, and there we go. And there we go. So yeah, we're draining now. I just let it leak out. Oh. Once again, do inspection on the seal. Seal looks good, so now we're let this drain. That flow's coming down to kind of a slower pace, so we're gonna go ahead and start pumping in some new gear oil. So this hose is from the old Bassy Pro. You can find the Quicksilver one. This is they didn't have them last year, so I bought this one, and it sucks. I like the Quicksilver one better. So we're gonna I'll put my phone up. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take this thing, quit falling. All right, we're gonna take this and you take the screw off. It'll have threads, and we just thread it in. See, threads. I think Yamaha, there's an adapter or something you gotta do, but Mercs are easy, so. We don't go with no adapters. That took way too long. Once again, I've only had issues with this one. The Quicksilver one, which I said I couldn't find. And this one was having some issues, my Quicksilver one. Hose, I think the hose broke or something, so. At this point, all we gotta do is pump away. And that thing I undid earlier, we just wait till it comes out of there. So, you want to sit over there and just wash that hole. That's all we're looking for at this point. There we go. It splooged down the side. That tells us she is full. All right, so at this point, I just take my rag, kind of clean up where I'm gonna be putting the thing back in. A little breather checker thing. Close that sumbitch back up. Hi-ya! That's tight, all right. And then start trying to get some of this oil cleaned up a little bit. Once again, it's just oil. We can clean it up later. Now the fun part, what you guys didn't see, is that once again I told you guys how shitty this thing is. My hose clamp decided to stop being a hose clamp, so making my job a little bit harder. But at this point, what you gotta do is take that out. But by the time you take it out, get your nut back on there. So, lay back down over here. Just like that. Our little socket. Make sure you drop your ratchet in your gear oil. That's an important step. Tight. Gotta clean that now. At this point, we're all done down here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna raise the motor back up. There you go. I should have brought cardboard. I got cardboard to shit to work. I should have brought a big piece of cardboard and just laid it down here. Note to self: if you're gonna do this, if you have work, friends, whatever, have big piece of cardboard. Get a big piece, just lay it right here. Keep from your concrete dirty. Anyway, at this point, we're gonna raise it back up, put some grease on our shaft, and kind of put everything back together at this point. Hey, grease gun. Once again, I use Lucas Oil marine grease. I'm just gonna put some grease on this shaft. Okay, done with that. Refine your rags you used. So now I'm a fucking mess again. Now we just kind of put everything back together how we had. Put our little spacer thing back in here. And grab a plop. Plop, plop, plop. Then our little seal thing. There's 2 indentations in it, so you just kind of line it up. And our big socket, our big nut back on. It's technically a locking nut. It's got a nylon washer. I don't replace it every year. But I replace it, I think, every 2 years I think I replaced it. So I placed it last year, so we're good this year. Everyone's different. Do what makes you feel better. And then grab a block again. And then you usually want to give it like kind of a one of those. You give it one of those and you know it's tight. Or if you're just kind of not 100% sure, just a quick little and that's usually good. But now usually I make it nice and tight, good tight, good and tight. But I'll kind of show you with those clamps that I bent up earlier. You can see now I can kind of go straight down on that clamp. It's dead middle. And that will keep the nut from walking out. So at that part, it's pretty much done. At least doing your motor and your gear oil. The only thing left I gotta really do is now, I forgot to say it, put oil back in your motor before you do your gear oil. Grew up with ADHD, so sometimes my ADHD does flare up, and it's usually when I'm doing multiple tasks. I always forget to do one of the two final steps or something. So, put 6 quarts straight on the top. The nice thing about these, they're nice and big. Forgot to say that earlier. So you don't need a funnel, you just dump your oil right in. I did my 5.5 quarts. This has got a seal. I took that seal. We're good to go. That's tight. That's all tight. Just clean this mess up. The only thing left is I got some grease ports that I gotta do. It's pretty simple. Got a grease port there. I put it out until the grease falls out. Got a grease port there. Same there, just put it until the grease comes out. I got the grease buddies, so you grease them from here. But those hubs are about, you know, the age of the boat now. Age of the boat, so probably gonna look into replacing my hubs this year probably, or at least the bearings. But that's part 1. Next part is getting that. Am I like a mess right now? It's because everything's still in the box, but I got boxes of just baits just hanging out. Got rods. Gotta get those all figured out. Gotta get those clean. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna keep, what I'm selling. Sold a good amount of stuff. There's a new reel right there just picked up. So got all the stuff to do, and then we got that big old mess over there. Yeah, that's a mess. There's something back still. Rods gotta go through, so that'll be next week's video. So hope you guys enjoyed me showing you guys how to do your Mercury oil change and your gear oil. I think it's very important for everyday people to learn how to do that. It's so easy, and it saves you money. I don't know how much dealerships charge. I would assume in the hundreds. I would assume 150 is what I would assume. That's my guess. But you can save yourself some money, because I know I use that Quicksilver oil. That stuff ain't cheap. That stuff's like $51 a gallon. That Wix oil filter is $15. So if not, maybe at least ask what they're using. They'll probably just tell you it's Mercury Standard or Mercury OE. But just find out how much you're charging, what kind of oil they're putting in there. If they're putting the cheap stuff like basic Mercury oil, it's like $20 a gallon. So if they're charging you 150 bucks, you can buy the oil filters. You got the basic hand tools in your garage. So you got about an hour to kill. Come out and do that, and then just have a grease gun and do everything else. Which is, I don't know, I think everyone has at least a basic grease gun. I just do a lot of different greasing, so I have an electric one. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. Like I said, next week I'm going to show you how I organize everything. Show you how to take all of this and put it in bags, how to decide what to keep, what to get rid of, what to put away, what to put to the side. And I'm going to be a little bit longer video. I'll show you how I clean my reels and stuff like that, and clean my rods. Because like the frog rod right there that was in last Wednesday's video, I know I didn't do that well, but please go watch that video. My Wednesday videos will be short this year, 5-minute videos, except Wednesday nighters. So hope you guys enjoy the shorter content on Wednesdays. But I'm gonna show you how to clean those reels. So now I'm rambling again. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you on Wednesday.